Hey everyone, we were recording this episode and put a cord in the wrong spot, and so there's some sound issues for like the first 20 minutes or so of this episode. But hang in there, it gets better. I worked as hard as I could to make it sound as well as I possibly could, so enjoy. Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm the Rodzilla Killer.
And I'm going to whip you like Madonna should have whipped you.
Welcome to episode 311, WCW Monday Night Nitro.
Woo! Another 3-hour edition.
Yay!
They're all 3 hours at this point.
I know.
They don't know how to do 2-hour nitros.
Going on 7.
I mean, you can argue that nobody knows how to do a 3-hour wrestling show because any 3-hour wrestling show always feels like some of this didn't need to be here. Too much wasted time, or in this case, too many matches that nobody cares about. On paper or otherwise.
So this is the 147th episode of Nitro, produced by WCW. Took place on July 6th, 1998, from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia, with an attendance of 41,412 and a TV rating of 4.8. For context, the same week, Raw was taped and got a 4.0. And that show was the DX as Nation of Domination promo show. That was the highlight of that episode.
The Croc.
Yeah.
Well, this definitely has a more, or I guess maybe an equally memorable highlight for different reasons. But 41,000 is bananas.
Yep, for a TV show.
I mean, yeah, the crowd is huge and pumped, and it looks great on camera.
It's also one of the first times ever that a announcer undersells how many people were actually in the crowd. Because they kept saying 39,000 during the show. And it's like, but I think that was just ticketed people. They didn't count all the
Comps or whatever.
comps and wrestlers and production crew, which, you know, that's what they usually do at the end of
how
the
many
day.
people are in the building.
Yeah.
The only number I'm interested in is how many people paid to get in.
Yeah,
But,
this many people in attendance.
yeah, that's the key word.
Yep.
they might not give a shit about what's happening here, but they're here.
But we are in Atlanta, Georgia.
We are.
So Shane, did you do what you do?
Oh, did I? Yes. We are back in Atlanta. Yes, back in Atlanta for Monday Night Nitro. And I did what I do in the sense that I jumped on the old phone and said, well, what the hell do people like in Atlanta? What do they eat? What do they drink? Where do they go? What do they do? And I've been trying to find things of like restaurants and foods and whatnot that were created in the specific areas that we've been to. And there's a couple things that popped up for Atlanta. Apparently Coca-Cola. But the main one that called out to me, because it holds a little piece of my heart, been going there since I was a young child. Waffle House got its start in Georgia. From their website, their story, it says, in 1955, two Georgia neighbors opened a restaurant that would change the world. Joe Rogers Sr. and Tom Faulkner were living in Avondale Estates, Georgia, when they decided to open a 24-hour sit-down restaurant for their friends and neighbors, focused on people on both sides of the counter. The first restaurant opened its door to create Waffle House brand that you see today. It says that there are now 1,900 locations, or more than 1,900 locations in 25 states, and they're always open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You go there, if you've been there, during the later hours of the day, the post-bar crowd or the way early morning crowd.
Yeah, nobody goes there at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Except for, me getting waffles.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, today there are more than 1,900 locations in 25 states, all of them open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Typically you'll find them in your more southern states, obviously. A lot of them are located off of your interstates.
Near hotels.
Yes, near your hotels. Greasy diner spot.
Probably not the nicest hotels.
Probably not.
No shade Waffle House, but you know.
But yeah, if you've been there in the late night hours, you'll catch all kinds of fun entertainment from the wide variety of people, the crazy shenanigans that go on in there, fights that break out. There was a viral video going around a year or two ago. I don't remember how long it was, but of
the chair dodge.
Yes,
yeah.
A Waffle House waitress or grill cook, whatever she was at the time, having a stool thrown at her, and she just kind of bats it away like it's just part of the job. You know, like she's cracking an egg in the process. They've got a wide variety. I shouldn't even say wide variety because it's breakfast foods mainly. But they do have some patty melts and griddle bowls and whatnot. But I went for my personal favorite, the pecan waffle. Because, you know, Oklahoma, they do love the pecans here. Yeah, super simple. It's a sweet cream dough, pecans thrown into a waffle iron, grilled to a little golden or a little bit above golden. Slather it with some whipped butter and some syrup, and you're golden.
Yeah, golden to over golden, depending on how long the cook has been
flirting with the waitress.
No, how long they've just been at work. I've seen some Waffle House workers that were just like essentially look like they've been there for 13 hours because they probably were.
But I've seen some Waffle House employees that look like they've been there for 13 hours that just walked through the door to start their shift. So, yeah. My first time going to a Waffle House, I think I was 6 or 7. My sister was working there, and I saw my first drag queen. There was Cher was in the building.
Nice.
Yeah, that was the first time I'd ever seen a drag queen.
What era of Cher?
If I could turn back time.
Yeah, that was my guess. It's
Yeah.
like, well, that's...
It was 80s.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, like, can anybody pull off 70s Cher outside of Cher?
Perhaps, because I mean everything's making that retro comeback. So
yeah, I'm just saying, does anybody have abs like that?
Give one of the Jenner girls or something.
So I went to pull up Waffle House just to like look something up, and the second option was Waffle House Index, and it's basically there was a former administrator of FEMA actually used Waffle House as a way of measuring like how much damage like natural disasters are occurring.
They closed.
But well, not so much that they close, but like how quickly they reopen. So basically the quicker they reopen, the less overall damage. So it's like a Waffle House index of 1 was, probably just like a cool rainstorm or something like that,
Weird. You guys know about the bizarre...
But it's just like I thought it was funny.
You guys know about the bizarre, like, ordering system thing?
That they have a Waffle House?
Yeah, with, like, the
yeah.
jelly packet and all that crap that they put on the plate.
Like, I could probably call my nephew right now and see if he remembers the placement. Because, it's a jelly pack here.
Yeah. There's videos on it, but I don't know on the internet.
I guess I don't know about this.
Like, basically, once you give them your order or whatever, and then they'll put the, like, plate, and then depending on where they arrange shit and how they arrange shit on the plate, it tells the cook what the order is, which is insane to expect them to remember all of that, because it's like you can just print out a ticket.
Yeah,
but it's like an upside down jelly packet might be like eggs over easy, or like depending on where it is, like on the plate, as if the plate was a clock, like at 12 o'clock or
Let's see.
That does seem weird, and
it seems so counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But I remember somebody telling me about it a long time ago, and I was like, that's wild. And then I recently came across like a video of them talking about it, and I was like, I remember hearing that and being like, what do you expect these people to remember all this shit for? Just write the order down.
Right.
Yeah, as it says on here, the AI overview, Waffle House uses a plate marking system to indicate orders. The system uses condiments and ingredients such as jelly packets, butter packets, shredded potato to indicate what to cook and how.
If they want hash browns, they just put some uncooked hash, like a sprinkle of uncooked hash browns on.
So when you think of it, you go to a Waffle House and you watch them order, and the waitress walks back after she writes everything down on her little yellow pad, and she does her little calling, 2 over easy light plate, bacon, sausage, waffle, blah 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 blah, and the cook's standing there just putting something down on this plate as she's saying it. That way, there's when they're having 17 things yelled at them, there's it all right here.
I mean, that's impressive. And like you say, stupid at the same time.
It's both things. I don't know whether I hate it or I love it. I'll say I appreciate it.
As someone who works in the restaurant industry, I find it appalling.
Yeah, yes. I do as well. Especially, like, it's one thing if they were doing that in, like, 1955, but, like, you can still write a ticket and then give it to me, or everything now is like a POS, and
it's like
print it out. And
it prints it just shows up on a computer screen for most people anymore.
When the electricity or something goes all wonky, then you have to wait for it to reboot. All this other stuff. This way, they're just.
I mean, it kind of ties in with the Waffle House Index. Yeah. Like they don't have to worry about all the gadgets,
the shit that's being thrown at them from the dining room. I'm gonna take my bite.
Take your soft waffle bite.
Yes. Well, maybe it'll be crunchy with pecan because I always put the pecans in there. We didn't even talk about Waffle House scattered, smothered, covered, diced, chunked, whatever with your hash browns.
This is the first time I've had a waffle from Waffle House.
Have you had?
It was fine.
You eaten there though?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've eaten there. Yeah, I've eaten there a good amount of times.
Yeah, my waffle's nice and soft and cold and buttery and syrupy, but I'm gonna take a bite into the microphone because that's what I do. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. It's not gonna make any noise. Nope, but it's fucking good. Okay.
Well, something that would happen right around the same time as this episode of Nitro, a couple movies would make their way to the theater. Lethal Weapon 4 and Small Soldiers.
Seen them both. I don't remember what my Lethal Weapon ranking is because I haven't rewatched them in a long time, but I don't think I disliked any of them.
And see, I haven't watched Small Soldiers in forever, so I had to pull that up real fast to figure out if I was even remembering the right stuff, because I remembered Phil Hartman. It's like, well, shit, I don't remember if that's the right movie, but
it's good. It's a Joe Dante joint. I love Joe Dante.
Lethal Weapon 4 is probably the worst of the bunch because it's kind of that's the one that brings in Chris Rock, which you would think would make it better, or not better, but like give it a little bit more life or whatever. But these characters had been together for so long that I didn't ever feel like you needed that little extra.
Wasn't Pesci in 3?
Pesci came in 3.
But he's a little bit more fun and different.
I mean, I'm not saying Lethal Weapon 4 is bad. No. I just think it's probably the least good of the bunch.
I'm a sucker for a buddy cop movie, so we don't get them very often now. But
no, we don't.
I mean, Jet Li's the bad guy.
Yeah.
In 4, which was kind of, I think it was the first time that I think I'd seen Jet Li in something.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Small Soldiers, another one I saw with my grandma and cousins in the movie theater.
See, I saw that one when it came out on video. First and done.
See, I don't think I liked this movie the first time I saw it.
You might have been a little, you were definitely a little older than me, so I can see why, like, if I was like 16 and I saw it, I would be like, this was dumb as hell. But I didn't know who Joe Dante was when I saw this movie. I had seen Gremlins at 1 and 2 at this point in my life, but I didn't know directors when I was like 12.
No, other than Spielberg.
Yeah, basically. So it's like, okay, well, yeah, as somebody that got into movies more as they got older and became nerdy about that kind of shit, looking back on it as a Joe Dante movie, you would probably appreciate it more for what it is.
I'm going to have to watch this one again because as I'm sitting here thinking of it...
It's fun. It's a kid's movie. It's not as like... It's not as dark.
Toy Story meets Transformers.
More like Gremlins because they're little action.
I was just going to say, I think it does feel more like... It feels very Gremlins-esque now that I think about it, because when you think about what Gremlins is, it's not a kid's movie.
No, Gremlins was originally a horror movie.
But... It can be seen, but like I don't think there's anything in it that's. I mean, some kids are gonna get scared, but there's nothing that's just like outright like scary.
Yeah, Small Soldiers is definitely more of a children's movie. It's a children's movie.
Gremlins has some jump scares when the gremlins have hatched from their cocoons and whatnot, because we don't know what the hell they're supposed to be looking like. But yeah, I can see the.
Because I mean, even this movie, like
comparison.
There's dark elements in Small Soldiers, and I think that's probably why I didn't care for it when I first saw it, because it was just kind of like, this may be a little too dark for me at the time.
I had to.
You put Phil Hartman in anything, and I'm gonna like it. Kind of like David Cross too.
Oh, is he in that? I haven't watched Small Soldiers in a very long time.
Yeah, looking at the cast, I mean, you got
this is a great cast.
Phil Hartman, Jay Moore, David Cross, Dennis Leary, Sarah Michelle Gellar. I don't know why she was in there.
Yeah, see, I do, yeah.
Franklin Gella.
Tommy Lee Jones and Ernest Borgnine. Those three guys were the Commando Elite.
Yeah.
How did they not have Ernest Borgnine on my list here?
I think it's because he has a voice. He's a voice actor.
I hadn't clicked the show more. I saw Jay Moore and saw no more. Christina Ricci is a voice, I guess. Of one
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah.
Christopher Guest. Yeah.
This is also kind of towards the end of. I think the last movie Joe Dante directed was Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Jesus.
I know. Poor guy. Somebody give this man some money. He really deserves a shot because he's made so much great shit.
I mean, that's probably why he's podcasting now.
Yeah, Matt texted us the other day and was like, "Do you guys know Joe Dante had a podcast?" And I was like, "No clue. Is it new?" And there's like 300 episodes. I was
started in like 2018, and was like, "Where's this been all my life?"
I know. I want to it makes me assume that it's bad, but I don't. But because I've never heard of it. But at the same time, everybody, their brother or their friend, have the podcast.
Yeah, he's been doing TV episodes, basically, for like the last 10 years.
That's a shame.
A bunch of Hawaii Five-0.
Damn. He deserves better.
Trying to Looney Tunes Back in Action is kind of like the last movie that probably was people would even know.
Yeah, I think that was his last theatrical release thing.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. And that's just a few years after this, I believe.
Yeah, that was 2003 when that came out. I mean, his, he started, because, Piranha, Rock and Roll High School, The Howling. He was one of the directors in Twilight Zone, Gremlins, Explorers, Inner Space, Amazon Women on the Moon.
Did he do Life Force?
See it, The Burbs.
Yeah, The Burbs is great. I don't think he did Life Force.
And then he did Matinee in 93, which...
I love Matinee.
Not the best movie.
You don't like it? I love that movie.
And then he did Small Soldiers in 98. So, these are all movies that, literally if someone said them to me, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I know that movie. But so, he had such a great run to, kind of fall off.
Yeah, I think the CGI thing probably killed it, too. There's some in Small Soldiers, but I imagine that it's he does love practical effects. Not that all of his movies are effects movies.
I thought Joe Dante did. No, that's Joe Johnston that I'm thinking of.
Rocketeer?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking Lost World, but...
Oh, no, he did the 3, Jurassic Park 3.
That's Lost World, isn't it?
Lost World, I thought that was...
Oh, there's Lost World 2. Lost World's 2. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because...
I always get them because you think you would go 1, 2, and then give it a subtitle, but they did 1, subtitle 3, which I'm just okay, cool.
I think 2 is still based off of a book, potentially, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, Lost World was.
And the third one, I think, that probably isn't based off a book, and they're just fuck it, this thing prints money.
Yeah, probably. Which, they still think that. Because it does.
One of the, normally if I watch a movie, I watch from beginning to end, because I turned it on with intention, and that first of the new Jurassic Park movies, I turned on and watched 40 minutes of it and just turned it off because it sucked so goddamn much.
I didn't mind World. What was the second World called? Was it Jurassic World 2?
No,
whatever it was called. But Dominion was bad.
I didn't mind. Yeah.
Dominion was very bad. Yeah, it was the third one.
I couldn't get through the first one, so I can't imagine.
I mean, the first one survives on Chris Pratt being charming, so...
Yeah. It's not enough for me.
It's barely enough for me.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk some wrestling.
Let's do it.
So we open on highlights from this past week's Thunder, where Tony Schiavone's interviewing J.J. Dillon, who says he loves his job, making the announcement that Hollywood Hogan is defending the WCW World Heavyweight Championship versus who he considers the number one contender, Goldberg, this next Monday.
Goldberg. That's the whole show is people chanting Goldberg for basically 3 hours.
Yeah. 41,000 people. Though.
I know, it's pretty crazy. I mean, who would have known that they're doing something right?
Who would have known? You put Hogan in with somebody new, somebody he's never fought before. I mean, that can't really be that Goldberg can move, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they're making up for...
it's against the norm.
Yeah. It's like they blew it with Sting. We gotta strike while the iron's hot.
The opening package hits, followed by Pyro and Tony welcoming everyone to the show, joined by Mike Tenay and Larry Zbyszko. The Nitro Girls are getting everyone hyped up inside the ring with a dance before our commentators talk about the big match. Hogan, Eric Bischoff, Miss Elizabeth, and the Disciple then make their way to the ring, where Hollywood talks about how he arrived in his Learjet and promises to never let his fans down, followed by saying he has some good news and bad news. This Sunday will be Diamond Dallas Page's last match, and Karl Malone will never play basketball again. Hogan continues with the bad news that the match with Goldberg isn't going to happen, as he only has defeated a bunch of jabronis, and he's not even in the same league as Hollywood. But for those 1 or 2 Goldberg fans who want to scream their lungs out, Hogan's going to bring back someone who hasn't been seen in some time, who's willing to take on Goldberg. And Hollywood finishes by saying that if lightning strikes, or if Bill gets lucky, then maybe I will grace Goldberg with my presence.
And nobody is having it. The crowd is chanting Goldberg. They are 100% over Hogan. I was thinking of this. I was like, Goldberg's, like, you know, them just smashing him over is kind of like Smells Like Teen Spirit just murdering all of hair metal in 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, fucking, who gives a shit? We're on to something new.
And Hogan doesn't help his case here because this whole promo was just boring as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing he's been doing as NWO Hollywood leader forever. It's just like talking about my Learjet and, you know, hanging out on...
I'm rich, but you guys all love me. I'm like,
hanging on the beach with babes.
Rodzilla.
Mm-hmm.
We then cut to a shot of a fan cutting a promo on Hogan. Hogan's streak started in 1985 in Madison Square Garden. Let me tell you, this isn't Madison Square Garden, and it ain't 1985. This is 1998, and Hogan's going down. 106 men have fallen at Goldberg's feet, and after a spear and a jackhammer, you're gonna be 107. I was like, WCW, you need to sign this guy up to be a manager. He was really good.
Did you guys see the sign that said the Titanic sank when it hit a Goldberg? Thought it was pretty cute. Stupid, silly, but fun.
We then get an NWO paid announcement where Hollywood says he's the greatest wrestler and he has the most popular shirt. So buy it now.
Yeah.
Okay. Mean Gene is then with last year's winner of Mark Martin's Winston Cup race car, Brian Murphy from Payne-Burn, Arkansas, out in the crowd area.
Is he one of the ones that won a car that they gave away? Or is this...
Yeah, he won a race car, and now they're going to give it away a second time. And I was like, you're going to give the same car, you're going to give his car away? Like, what? Like, it took me a second, but I realized, no, they're just giving another Winston Cup race car from probably this year.
Oh, that guy's there for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, to promote, hey, I won last year, so can you.
Passing the torch soon.
Yeah, another thing I care about. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okerlund asks Brian if he ever takes the car out for a spin, which he replies, every time he gets a chance. Even though Mean Gene literally says that they're not street legal. Which they're definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he means that he takes it out the local racetrack.
I mean, it's possible.
On a 3-day weekend.
Mean Gene continues by telling everyone to call the number, which is blanked out, but then he goes ahead and says it anyway, so...
1-900-909-9900. Kid, get your parents' permission before calling, but call now!
So you can win that new autographed car.
I do love that they have it on there, though. This number is no longer valid.
Yeah.
Or no longer in service or something. Oh, no shit.
So we go to our first match. Dean Malenko versus Booker T for the WCW World Television Championship.
And I've got a bone to pick already. The announcers tell us that Bret Hart will face Booker T at the pay-per-view for the title, but Booker T has to get through Dean Malenko first. I'm like, cool. Cool if you just told me that. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Just tell me the results. I'm a taped Raw.
So we get back and forth action to start when Booker hits a knee to the gut, a body slam, forearms, and a back suplex before going to the top, only for Malenko to avoid a missile dropkick. Dean attempts to lock in the cloverleaf, but Booker T surprises Malenko with an inside cradle for a 2 count, only for Dean to retaliate with a leg lariat.
It's a little early for Dean to try to put on the cloverleaf.
He ain't fucking around, though.
No.
Booker reverses a whip to send Malenko to a corner where he flips over the ropes to the apron to avoid a charge in by his opponent, followed by going to the top where he's caught and dropped by a spinebuster from Booker T. And the punishment continues with a spin kick and a flapjack before a spinaroonie up and a Harlem sidekick attempt, which Dean ducks and nails a crossbody that sends them both crashing out to the floor. Chris Jericho then comes out with a mic saying he's sick and tired of Malenko running from him each and every week, wanting to settle it once and for all. And this distraction allows Booker to nail an axe kick as Dean is getting back in the ring for the pin and the win, which causes Jericho to give out a good laugh as well.
You can tell how stoked Jericho is at his booze and the amount of people in the arena. He is not hiding it at all. I'm glad that anybody's excited. I don't like seeing the Iceman look like a fucking geek.
I get it. I'm the same way with it, but...
He's also, it's like, well, he's been working as a cruiser for a long time, too. So I get it. Booker T's obviously more over.
They're trying to take him up to that, out of the cruiserweight level and, have him a World TV Championship match here, but
it was barely a match.
Yeah. And, now we know that he did not win this match, so we know that we're not going to get Bret versus Dean for the World TV Championship. It's a bummer.
Okay, now I'm bummed out.
See?
I didn't even think about that.
That was my initial
I don't think I ever even heard.
I caught that, and I was like, cool, thanks for telling me what's going to happen, because it's like, I want that, but I know you're not going to give it to me. Booker T is over right now.
Yep. But now it makes me wonder if Bret and Dean ever had a match before.
I think we may have had this conversation.
Yeah,
I believe we did.
See, I couldn't remember if it was about
I think
Dean
they
or
have
if it
like
was
a
somebody
TV.
else.
I think they have like a TV match or something.
Yeah.
That we probably won't watch.
We might just have to watch it for ourselves.
Yeah, we can Google it.
Tony then sends it to the back to see Goldberg warming up as we head to commercial. And we come back to Karl Malone, a 2-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, 3rd all-time in career points scored, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and 2-time Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Famer. And, in my opinion, the greatest player to never win a championship.
Probably true. Also,
Davis.
real fun, I imagine, Wikipedia. He's there's some fun and not so fun things to learn about Karl Malone if you want. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I just can't believe how cut he is, and it's like, how does anybody have? I know he's a very tall guy, but but his arms are like
legs.
Yeah, his arms are so fucking long. It's insane.
Yeah.
He looks like a action figure of like a guy whose name should be I don't know. I'm blanking now. I was gonna try to make an arm joke.
Yeah, like all I can think of right now is He-Man, Man at Arms.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, he's got like a wingspan bigger than his height, and the man is very tall. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And he's basically cutting a promo, talking straight to Dennis Rodman, or should I say Dennis? I'm sorry, Rodzilla. That he's disappointed that he's not there in Atlanta, but knows that he will have to show up at Bash at the Beach. I'm just going to say it right now. They do a horrible job, but it's WCW, so it's not surprising. They do a horrible job of telling you, they tell you that there's a match that's going to happen. Why this match is happening? Who knows?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they'll tell us one day.
I might tell you whenever the match happens.
Yeah.
Because that's about the only time that
That's when they'll finally show up.
That's when I finally did my research for it, because it's not like Tony and the guys were telling us. But we move on to our second match. Kanyon versus Raven with Lodi. And Kanyon attacks on the floor, knocking down the sign guy and his leader, and taking the brawl back into the ring to hit a swinging neckbreaker for a 2 count, followed by a sleeper by each man, which Kanyon escapes by back suplexing his opponent over the ropes, only for Raven to hold on to send Kanyon crashing out as well. Raven's flung into a guardrail before being rolled back in for Kanyon to hit a TKO onto a chair he had thrown into the ring to get a near fall.
Pretty sick. The TKO was basically an F5.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if it's so close to an F5 that I don't know what else I would compare it to.
Kanyon heads up top when Lodi sneaks up to trip him up, causing Kanyon to be crotched and allowing Raven to deliver a superplex onto the chair as well. All of a sudden, Saturn runs down to the ring and attacks Raven to cause a disqualification. Post-match, Lodi comes in to save his leader, only to be demolished by a belly-to-belly suplex, going back to assault Raven when Kanyon walks up. So Perry nails a Death Valley driver on him, with the announcer saying he didn't know who he just hit.
Sure.
Saturn continues with a T-bone suplex on Raven before grabbing a table from under the ring and setting it up at ringside.
Is it a table or is it a chair?
It was a table.
Table this time.
Perry drags Raven to the floor and places him on the table, followed by going to the top to fly off with a splash that doesn't break the table.
Pretty gnarly.
Saturn returns to the ring where Kanyon's waiting to deliver a flatliner in retaliation.
Yep.
We then go outside to a limo arriving in the building, and the driver gets a wheelchair out of the trunk while an older woman helps Buff Bagwell in a neck brace out. And we haven't seen Buff since Nitro April 20th, 1998, episode 299. He's been out and had neck fusion surgery, so this is like a real injury that he's had. We come back to another fan cutting another promo on Hogan. I'm going to tell you who's going to win. Plain and simple. Hogan's got 2 things to think about. The spear and the jackhammer. Goldberg all the way, baby. This one wasn't quite as good.
No. But he had a little bit of flavor in
They
there.
do not need to hire this one.
No, definitely not. Inside the arena, the Nitro girls are dancing on the stage area before Tony sends it to a Nitro party ad. They're still doing those.
Yeah,
So
the
that's
Nitro
cool.
party pack.
Get your party. Nitro girls will show up and dance for you.
Which I'm just like, if there's a Nitro party and we're sending Nitro girls to the party, then how are the Nitro girls on Nitro dancing for us?
Well, they probably just made a phone call and got some people that they called Nitro girls to show up to the party.
Squad.
Yeah. The B Squad, which is probably local entertainment of that area. House call entertainment. It's like, hey, it's easy. You don't have to take your clothes off.
And you'll send old what's his nuts that's usually backstage doing the internet interviews.
Oh,
Stagger Lee.
Yes.
Marshall?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because, he's the true ladies' man.
Our commentators then talk about Bash at the Beach, followed by showing footage from the previous week's Nitro, where Diamond's Dallas Page and Karl Malone arrived in a big rig, only for the NWO Hollywood to be ready to destroy it once it got there. Hogan's then in the ring calling DDP and Malone losers, telling people to not even tune in, which I'm like, you're telling people to actively not tune in to your TV show. What sense does this make?
As much sense as the main event of this show being on free TV.
Because Hollywood's going to wipe them both out. And the big rig finally arrives with the NWO scurrying away. They don't even, like, they're out there like, yeah, we're going to get it. And then as soon as it arrives, they just all run.
What's he going to do, run you over?
A truck parked all the way over there? No way.
And there's only 2 guys in it.
It's coming right for us.
Paige and Carl make their way out of the truck and all the way to the ring where Hollywood's still jibber-jabbering away. And then they scare Hogan by smashing 2 chairs together. Like, just hit him with the chair.
Mm-hmm. Have that first concerto. Come on.
Malone and Hogan lock up in the middle of the ring before Carl drops him with a body slam and a pair of horrible-looking clotheslines.
Mm-hmm. But what a wingspan on that Karl Malone. He could clothesline you. Yeah, he couldn't miss a clothesline if he wanted, but they don't look very nice when he does. Yeah. When he nails them.
DDP then takes the mic to tell Hollywood he just got slam dunked, punk, followed by letting everyone know they will be in Hotlanta this next week, which is the show we're watching.
Woo! Yeah.
Because that was last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Back live in the arena, Mean Gene's in the ring, and he welcomes out Page and Malone, where DDP says this will be the worst week of Hogan's life. Painted himself into a corner, because it does not matter who he pits against Goldberg. Hollywood is next. And Page continues that means Hogan will be all bruised and banged up at Bash at the Beach, as will Rodman, because the mailman has a special delivery for Rodzilla. Carl then says he's going to whip Rodman like Madonna did, then beat the paint out of his hair, making him a Rodzilla killer.
Pretty good.
Dude grief.
Pretty fun. I mean, Karl
Malone's better on the mic than Hogan was.
I mean, he looks great and he's trying. It's like he obviously is wants to do this.
Yep.
They both do the diamond cutter sign and the bang before heading out into the crowd as we go to break. Actually, I forgot to write this down and mention it, but like when they get into the ring where they're like celebrating with the fans, they're doing their little spinning. They're spinning around to all the fans. You can see, if you watch it, DDP has hold of Malone's like trunks, belt loop or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So make sure that they like stay in sequence when they're like, because they're leaning against each other and like it's pretty funny.
Good eye.
Shivani then talks about Steve Mongo McMichael, followed by sending it to a video package where Mongo says that he hopes everyone realizes why he became part of an elite group, making the comparison to the monsters of the Midway, and continuing that the Horsemen didn't win championships, they took them. And McMichael wants to talk about where he's been and where he wants to go, about why he came into WCW, before going to an interview with Mike Ditka, who says Mongo had a warrior's heart, practicing the same way he played in a game. Back to McMichael, who says that one man holds the key to all of this, Arn Anderson, asking him to unlock that barn door and let them run. And we haven't seen Mongo, as he's been out with a broken hand, since Super Brawl 8, episode 293.
Is that Mongo's way of telling us he's getting a little tingle in his forefingers? Yes. Want to put the band back together?
I mean, it's the only thing Mongo has.
I mean, I will say that they're trying, but this was not convincing.
Oh, try with somebody worth it.
That package went on about 3 minutes too long, and I tuned out about a minute and a half in.
Yeah, it's like Buff shows up, and, people weren't the biggest fan of him.
It's his hometown.
But it's his hometown. They brought him back at the right place,
Yeah.
so they got a reaction, which translates to the people at home that are watching.
Mm-hmm.
This Mongo thing was flat as a plate full of piss.
Flat, and then you throw Ditka in there, and my brain automatically stops listening to what Mongo or anybody else is saying,
And
it
you
just
think of
goes
SNL.
on to the Bears, the Bears, the
yeah.
Bears.
The
Yep.
Bears.
Ditka.
So we go to our third match. Scott Putski versus Riggs.
Hey, isn't that Ivan's son, Scott?
It is.
Ooh.
And we haven't seen Putski since In Your House 17, Ground Zero,
Holy shit.
episode 269. Remember he fought Brian Christopher for the
And then he had some sort of an injury.
cruiserweight or lightweight, heavyweight. Yeah, he got hurt. That was the match that he got hurt in.
Yeah.
That was like really gross.
I couldn't remember what the injury was.
It was like an ab thing or something.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Scott Putski kind of looks like if Hunter Hearst Helmsley was a vampire.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also haven't seen Riggs since World War III 97, episode 282. Pretty much WCW guys, if you haven't seen him in a while, that's probably the last time I saw him.
Yeah. They tried with Riggs for a second. I remember him having some singles matches where he looked good, but the matches were nothing to write home about.
No. And then he got flocked.
Yeah, he's a flock member.
Yeah.
And nobody in the flock can have anything because
Ravens,
it's Ravens
rules.
So Scott opens with a snap suplex, but Riggs retaliates with knees, clotheslines, right hands, and a dropkick, only for Putski to respond after a telegraphed back body drop with clotheslines and a tilt-a-whirl slam. And Riggs shoves his opponent off to the ropes before catching and hot-shotting him across the top rope, followed by a running knee and throwing Scott to the floor. Riggs keeps up the attack by leaping off the apron with a clothesline, ramming Putski into the guardrail, followed by both men returning to the ring, where they run the ropes and try for crossbodies, leaving our competitors down on the mat.
Double KO spot.
Back to their feet, they exchange strikes, with Scott getting the advantage with a back elbow, nailing a Polish hammer. But he wastes time, allowing Riggs to hit a jawbreaker to slow the attack. Riggs then runs Putski into a corner and goes for a sleeper, only for Scott to use his momentum to send his opponent into the turnbuckle, before delivering a sit-out powerbomb, which Tenay tells us he calls the Putski bomb, for the pin and the win.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine. Everything looked good and nothing got stupid. But the announcers just talked about Hulk Hogan the whole time. So why should anybody watching care about two guys that nobody really knows much about?
We go to the back to see Goldberg still getting prepared as we go to commercial.
This guy's been shadowboxing for like 48 minutes.
We come back to a package about Bill, showing his first win versus Hugh Morris, followed by going outside of the arena to see another limo arrive.
Who we got now?
In the NW Hollywood, all of them were out there welcoming Scott Hall, who emerges with a drink, then says to the camera that it's time to go to school, Goldberg. So I think we just found out who his opponent is.
Yeah.
Also, I think, and I may be wrong, but I think this may be the last time we see Rick Rude.
Oh, really?
See, I was wondering that because I know...
Because he does leave for... Because he had a testicular cancer scare.
Mm.
And it not being that, thankfully.
Yeah.
And his last official date's not until like April of 99, but he's not with the NWO anymore
On a regular basis.
when he comes back from the cancer scare. So I don't know how much, if we'll see him again. So I just wanted to throw that out there now.
Yep.
Because
We all love Rick
I'm going
Rude.
to keep my fingers crossed that when Shane Douglas makes the return, Rick Rude's going to pop in and just...
I just know
talk some
on
shit.
all the pay-per-view, all the shows that we're going to watch, he's not a manager for anyone
Yeah.
before the time that I know he leaves.
And we're in hour 2, guys.
Going on
So
seven.
pyro.
We're on hour 2, and we've only had 3 matches.
So we got a bunch more to go.
I mean, most of the matches were pretty short.
Back in the arena, Jericho makes his way to the ring, taking the mic to introduce himself, but stops because all the fans know who he is. And Chris continues that tonight he has to face Ultimo Dragon. That Dean Malenko isn't the number one contender anymore. It's the young and sassy Rey Mysterio Jr. And that's who he should face at Bash at the Beach. J.J. Dillon then comes to the ring at this point, telling Jericho he needs to rein in his antics. When Malenko would run down, only for J.J. to tell them that if they touch one another, they will be suspended. This leads to Chris taunting Dean, with Dillon calming down Malenko at first, telling him to not fall for Jericho's tricks, before turning to Chris to remind him he has to face Dean in a no disqualification match at Bash. So why are you riling him up? Jericho says he understands, claiming that they have a lot in common, like their dads not being around when they were growing up, only to then wonder why Malenko doesn't look like his dad, causing Dean to snap and beat down Chris until security can hold him back as we head to break. This also means Malenko's probably going to be suspended.
Yep. God damn it.
But we come back from commercial to our fourth match. Chris Jericho versus Ultimo Dragon for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. And Jericho was technically in the ring first. Foreshadowing. And we get a back and forth to start when Ultimo nails a drop kick and a handstand kick, only for Chris to answer back with a clothesline and a drop kick to the back of the head. Jericho then delivers a vertical suplex for a 2 count, followed by Dragon avoiding another drop kick and retaliating with some of his sequence of kicks that he does. When Malenko would run back down, shove Ultimo out of the way to get his hands on Chris once again, causing the ref to call for the disqualification. Post-match, Dean beats down Jericho, yanking him around by the hair, even pulling a strand out by the root.
You went full mankind on that hair.
Until security again comes out to break up the fight as we head to commercial.
I inspected the hair on the screen, and I was like, is that real? Did Chris pull out like a hair extension? Did he cut it with a razor? It almost looked like the perfect strand of hair for the camera. What do I know?
We come back to see Malenko being handcuffed before seeing the Nitro girls dance in the entranceway. And Bobby the Brain Heenan has now joined the commentator's booth, giving his opinion on the Goldberg situation. While Tony reminds everyone to send their Nitro party tapes in for the contest. Get those tapes in, guys.
Yeah.
And we go to our fifth match. Johnny Swinger versus Chavo Guerrero Jr. And Swinger gets in the ring, and he grabs a mic to ask the crowd who he is. And that's Johnny Swinger. Do you know what I am? The hottest commodity in wrestling.
Totally.
First time hearing about it.
Chavo then comes out wearing a hard hat and holding scissors, as Shivani tells us that Eddie had cut a chunk of hair off of his nephew's head this last week on Thunder.
2 haircut angles in a row.
I mean,
I guess one was more of a hair pull.
as much as they're showing last week's Thunder and last week's Nitro, I'm wondering if we should go back and watch those, because that seems to be a good third of this show.
There's time to fill, brother. And obviously we don't want to have any matches.
So the ref makes Guerrero take the hard hat off. So Chavo holds the top of his head, like he literally has his hand on the top of his head for like the first like minute and a half of this match.
Yeah, he's trying to cover up his bald spot. It's like his hair is pretty short. It's like, oh, they just used like a clipper, like a electric clippers to just take a little
Jackass style,
a little 2-inch square out of the top of his head. Yep, Jackass style, exactly.
Which allows Johnny to take control with an arm drag and a hip toss. But he then taunts. So Junior rolls him up for a 2 count. And Guerrero finally gives up hiding the haircut, working Swinger over with uppercuts. Johnny responds with kicks, only for Chavo to poke the eyes and nail a tornado DDT for the pin. And the win.
Do you like the reverse chinlock plus a wet willy spot. It's kind of creative. It's a way to piss somebody off.
I mean, this Chavo is fun.
Post-match, Junior takes the mic, saying he noticed that Swinger had split ends. And he has scissors.
Uh-oh.
So he cuts a little off the end, declaring that was for Eddie, asking for their match at Bash of the Beach to be hair versus hair.
Yep.
There we go.
Chavo's that big personality. He's getting bigger as he's like losing manic energy is what he's got. He's losing train of thought while cutting promos and stuff.
Let's see, this would have been a perfect moment for the disciple to have a fight within himself and start coming down to the ring to show him how to cut hair, but then turn around and go back to the back.
I'm going to say I don't hate that idea because it's probably a little bit more interesting than most of the stuff that was happening.
It's better than the disciple just being
there,
quiet next to Hogan. It's like, just get him out of here.
Yep. A beard with the chin.
So we get another Goldberg video package, this time showing his 25th win versus Glacier as we head to break.
Woo! Some highlight wins for old Bill Goldberg there with Hugh Morris and Glacier.
You got to work your way up the card, man.
Yeah, it starts with Morris, goes to Glacier, and then you get to Hogan. It's just...
Well, we still haven't seen
bang,
match...
boom.
We haven't seen match 50 or 75 yet.
Nobody's seen that one.
We've still got some commercial breaks. They're gonna fill in the Goldberg story.
If there
is one.
We come back to a live shot of Bill still warming up in his locker room.
He's gonna wear himself out. He's got 2 matches potentially.
And we go to our 6th match. Disco Inferno and Alex Wright versus Public Enemy of Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge.
I'm really loving when Disco comes out, the superimposing him on the disco ball. It's a nice touch.
So last time we saw Inferno was at Super Brawl 8, episode 293. Wright at World War III 97, episode 282. And Public Enemy at Nitro, April 20th, 1998, episode 299. So it's been a little while for all these guys. All of a sudden, Tokyo Magnum comes down to dance along with Disco and Alex. But they stop and just stare at him.
Why can't he join the fray?
Why would they want a Japanese guy dancing with them?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they get a...
Tokyo Magnum, he'll be around for like the next 3 or 4 months with this group, basically as their third, even though they don't want him there. He was trained by Ultimo Dragon, basically was his protege, basically. So the kid can wrestle, but never really does anything with him in WCW.
This is, I know it doesn't go on to these heights, but this is Okada and TNA.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So just for anybody that, if you get it, you get it. If you get it, you get it.
So Public Enemy obviously brings a pair of tables to the ring because that's what they do.
Yeah.
Setting them up on the outside before getting in the ring to attack the Dancing Fools with strikes and stereo backdrops that send them to the floor to regroup.
Yeah.
And Disco tells Magnum to leave at this point as Rock Beal tosses Alex back into the ring, followed by a double flapjack from Public Enemy. And Inferno gets tagged in only to be dropped by a double back elbow, double elbow drop, and a double back suplex. Tokyo jumps on the apron to distract Public Enemy, allowing Disco to clothesline Grunge, but Rocco then clotheslines Inferno. So Wright leaps in with a spinning back kick to take down Rock. And Alex continues the body slam and a slingshot pump splash onto Johnny. Delivers some European uppercuts and another slam, followed by Disco coming off the second rope with a double axe handle that Grunge avoids, before nailing a swinging neckbreaker, allowing Johnny to make the crawl for the hot tag. Rocco cleans house with strikes and clotheslines, goes for a double knocker, but the Fools with a double elbow and double hip toss change the momentum, only for Grunge to run in from behind with a double bulldog. The Dancing Fools are tossed to the floor, with Grunge dragging Wright to the table. But Magnum pulls Alex off, getting him to safety, only for Wright to shove Tokyo.
His name should be Tokyo Nightclub.
Magnum goes after the Fools because he wants to dance with them.
He wants to dance. I was just trying to think. I was like, Tokyo Magnum's not a good enough name for this.
So Public Enemy grabs Tokyo and stacks the tables onto each other and places Magnum atop them. Johnny then holds up Rocco on the rope so he can springboard somersault senton onto Tokyo and through the tables.
I mean, perfect table break, but poor Tokyo Magnum. Mm-hmm. We're like, hey, buddy, we got a job for you.
All of a sudden, the Fools rush back in with garbage cans and lids to attack Public Enemy, causing the ref to call for the bell.
Ding, ding, ding.
And the disqualification.
And this is where, while watching this show, I was like, I don't care about anything anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't care about anything that this company could ever do anymore.
I kind of had that same moment of checking the time around this match just to see how much more we had left, because it seriously felt like we'd been through about 4.5 hours of a 3-hour show, and we were barely halfway through.
It's just like, wow, everything's basically been a DQ so far.
Here's the bigger question. Are you ready for it?
Absolutely.
So if Public Enemy had hit the move on Alex Wright, would they have been disqualified? The answer is no, because Public Enemy always puts their opponents through tables.
My take on it was that it was the trash cans in the ring that caused for the DQ, but I don't remember exactly when the bell rang, nor
do you care.
Yeah.
I also find it comical that we have Tokyo, who seems to be like a mashup of Kai and Tai and Val Venus in one. Just, I don't know, the Tokyo Magnum, the Magnum part is what stands out to me as them trying to play on that. I don't know what his character ends up doing other than dancing, but...
That's all he does in WCW.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then never mind. He's not a porn star in the making.
Mean Gene's on the stage area, welcoming out Buff Bagwell. And Okerlund mentions that it's his mother, Judy Bagwell, that's wheeling him out, while Buff gets some cheers in his hometown. And Bagwell discusses almost losing his life twice. A C7 and C4 fracture in his neck, but everyone across the nation kept in touch with him, and he loves every person who did. And Buff continues that he was going to be Scott Stunner's co-star this week, only to decide to go his own way. So, if I remember correctly, the Eric Bischoff show was now a segment that happened occasionally, and Scott Steiner was going to be a guest, or he was a guest on the show the last Nitro, saying he was going to have a co-star next week, and it was supposed to be Buff, but then they decided to do this instead of the Eric Bischoff segment.
I mean, they need a hometown thing so Buff can get cheered.
Yeah.
It was the right call.
Yeah. Because we definitely don't need an Eric Bischoff show segment.
Fuck no.
Tony sends us to another Goldberg package to see his 50th win versus Rick Fuller.
Oh. I know who Hugh Morris is. I know who Glacier is. I don't know who Rick Fuller is.
I don't know who Rick Fuller is.
So
he did one tour in New Japan.
Huh. It's just funny because we were like, all right, well, the names will be more significant leading up to Hogan. And it's like, all right,
he started hot with
we remember him. Glacier, it's like, well, we're trying to make Glacier a thing for a little while. And then Rick Fuller.
Let's see, Rick Fuller.
They could have lied, too, about which match it was.
You're not going to find anything on Wikipedia about him. We go to commercial, but when we come back, we get Pyro and Shivani saying we're in the third hour, leading to our commentators' talk about Bill and his possible 2 matches.
Bum, bum, bum.
Hey guys, we only got an hour left.
Yeah.
So we go to our 7th match. Scott Hall versus Bill Goldberg for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. The ref held the belt up.
Yeah.
Like, I just thought it was going to be just a random match.
Well, also it's like you have to get through Scott Hall to get to Hogan. If Scott Hall wins, does Scott Hall get to fight Hogan? Doesn't he want that belt too?
They probably just gave him the belt.
Yeah. Scott, and just so everybody knows, Scott's looking a little loose.
A little bit. He's officially started the bandana era where that's all we were going to see him wearing. So he used to wear it every now and then, but once he reached that specific level of permanent fuck-uppery, it's like that's all you saw him with was the bandana rolled up and tied around almost like 80s headband style in a way.
So he didn't have to do his hair?
I guess so. Either that or to catch the sweats.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
So the two shove each other to start, followed by Hall taking the arm and paint-brushing Bill, who just hops up and glares at Scott.
And just so you know, 40,000 people are going bug nuts.
A test of strength is teased, only for Hall to kick Goldberg a few times. So Bill responds by whipping Scott so hard into the ropes, he falls down. So Goldberg chokes, slaps, and body slams Hall.
Welcome back, Scott.
And Bill just keeps shoving Scott away anytime he tries something, until Goldberg misses a charge into a corner, allowing Hall to hit a clothesline and a back suplex that only gets a 1 count.
In that moment where he whips him so hard that he falls over, like Scott Hall missed the spot, but Goldberg is shooting and like chokes Scott Hall on the mat for a moment and says, "Don't fuck." It's like a "don't fuck with me" moment, and he's visibly pissed. He's like, "The fuck am I doing here with this fucking asshole?"
Scott with strikes as the crowd's chants become even louder. So Bill begins to no-sell everything, leading to Hall being taken down by multiple hip tosses and arm drags that sends Scott to the floor to call out the troops. And the Disciple, Vincent, and Kurt Hennig begin making their way out, only for DDP and Malone to come out as well with chair shots to take care of them. Goldberg then drags Hall back to the apron, but he drops down to hotshot Bill across the top rope, followed by a clothesline. And Scott sets up for the outsider's edge, only for it to be reversed into a back body drop, before Goldberg nails a spear and a jackhammer for the pin and the win.
And the crowd goes wild. I mean, the fans love this. I liked the shoot moment a lot, just because I was like, fucking Goldberg could destroy like anybody on the roster. I mean, there's probably guys that are technically better fighters, but if we're going like pound for pound muscle, this guy looks like a fucking action figure.
We head to break, but when we come back, the Nitro girls are dancing on the commentators' stage.
Yeah, they are. Did you notice who one of those was? You may not, because she hasn't really had much of a stage presence, but...
I mean, it's Sean's future wife.
Yes, you have, formerly known as Whisper, Sean's wife, Rebecca, dancing around behind old Tony and Mike and Bobby.
I don't know who Whisper is. What's Shawn?
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels.
Oh.
Yeah.
I literally think this is the episode that he saw her on. And,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And
I think he was there. Because there's a picture of the two of them, and I swear she's wearing basically what she's wearing.
She
and that
wears
just
the
might
same
be her.
thing all the time. No, he was at home.
Was it?
I've heard the story. He was at home and he actually called Kevin and was like,
"Who's that girl dancing next to
girl?"
Bobby?"
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Rebecca, whatever her name
And
is.
while they're dancing, obviously our commentators talk about Goldberg and Hogan because that'll be a thing.
Yeah. Mostly Hogan.
When we get our 8th match, Psychosis versus Juventud Guerrera. And Psychosis charges immediately, only for Juvi to avoid and charge in himself. But Psychosis moves as well. Guerrera gets a boot up on another charge in by his opponent before a clothesline for a 2 count, followed by chops and a head scissors to take Psychosis down. Juvi flies off the top to deliver another head scissors that sends Psychosis to the floor, with Guerrero then coming over the top rope with a tope con hilo.
Scary one.
Psychosis rolls through a sunset flip attempt by Juvi and catapults him over the ropes back to the outside, before flying off the top with a senton to the floor. Now back in the ring, Psychosis goes for a suplex, but Guerrero floats over and tries for one of his own, only to be chopped away and hit with a German suplex that Juvi flips out of and catches a charging Psychosis with a Juvi driver. Guerrero then goes to the top as the flock begins heading to the ring, flying off with a 450 for the pin and the win. Post-match, the flock attacks Juvi as he celebrates, stomping him down, followed by doing the same to Psychosis.
You can't do it every match.
No. Who do you think you are? The NWO?
Everybody's the NWO.
We go to another Goldberg package to see a 75th win over Raven.
Hey, at least it's a guy. Not one I like, but a guy.
Yeah.
And this win would also win him the U.S. title at that point.
Oh, we watched this one. We covered it.
Yep.
As we go to commercial. But we come back to Tony talking about the Louisiana Melee.
Okay.
It's an online stream that's coming up this Friday night, and you can listen to on WCWWrestling.com.
In my notes, I was just like, talk to WCW.com for some house show. I was much more flippant about it.
I actually kind of started laughing because I'm like, technically this is what we're doing.
Yeah. And who knows?
So we shouldn't make fun of it, really.
Well, it's the thing is like, we're watching this show, and I imagine that show has to have some actual finishes or whatever. I don't know. It's a house show. It's like, you're going to listen to that after you watch this mostly garbage?
They then send it to a video package about the Bash the Beach tag match between Hogan, Rodzilla, and DDP Karl Malone.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that yet.
Showing highlights of a press conference that Hollywood's looking for a big payday because that's the only thing you care about. Paige and Malone showing up in a big rig. The war is on.
I like that Karl Malone's a trucker.
No, he's a mailman. He always delivers.
Wasn't he? He was a real trucker. Like, he did that in his off time just because he likes it, right? Isn't that a real thing?
I don't know.
I think that's a real thing.
I
don't think I'm talking out of my ass.
I have no idea.
I think he just did it for the love of the game. It's not like kids. They weren't making the money that people are making today, but he was still a huge star.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually owned a trucking company. Maybe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, we've had a Hogan monster truck. We've had a giant monster truck.
But I think that's a real part of
Medusa.
Karl Malone's life.
A DDP big rig.
Yeah. We've had the Lex Express.
He owned 3 restaurants, 2 car dealerships, 3 Jiffy Lubes, and some Burger King franchises. I don't see anything about... That's just called diversifying all the money that you're making.
Karl Malone became a certified commercial driver and owned a trucking company called Malone Enterprises Trucking.
Cool.
He started it while playing for the Jazz. Oh, his truck had a hand-painted mural of himself in a 10-gallon hat.
Nice.
He eventually sold it, but he did like big trucks.
So did Pedro the Lion.
It's a joke for 8 people.
Yeah.
If we're lucky.
If it stays in the episode.
Keep it in.
So we go to our 9th match. Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus the Giant.
Whoa. Not even a hoe.
We haven't seen Duggan since World War III 97.
Of course.
Episode 282. And Hacksaw attacks, the bell rings, but he's hit with a boot to the face and kicks to the gut by the big man.
The big foot.
Duggan's taken to a corner for butt splashes, only to escape and club away. He tries for a body slam, only to be hammered down by the Giant. Hacksaw is then body slammed, but he avoids an elbow drop and nails a 3-point stance. Duggan then goes for a knee drop, only to jump right into a big fist.
I got a kick out of this one.
Like, literally, he goes to the knee drop, and Giant just puts his fist up in the air.
Just like laying on his back.
It.
It's a really funny spot.
Allowing the Giant to deliver a choke slam for the pin. And the win.
To be honest, calling right here, favorite spot of the night.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe my favorite moment of the pay-per-view.
It's not a pay-per-view, it's a TV show.
Felt like one.
Yeah.
Which is a problem. Because their pay-per-views feel like episodes of TV, and their TV sometimes feels like pay-per-views.
Post-match, the big man takes the mic and calls Kevin Green yellow and a coward.
Did you guys have Kevin Green on your fucking bingo card? Because I
always-
sure the fuck didn't.
You always got it. I mean, if they got Mongo on an episode, Kevin Green's likely to show up.
Telling him to bring it. when the former All-Pro makes his way out to the ring. And Green spits on the Giant, so the big man charges in with a clothesline, only for Kevin to duck and hit a clothesline of his own to knock the Giant to the floor.
So, I guess we know what will happen to Bash at the Beach, but Kevin Green, I imagine...
Who we haven't seen since Great American Bash 1997, episode 259.
I imagine that his paycheck was much, much smaller than Malone and Rodman. But hey, paycheck's a paycheck.
We then go to a pre-recorded interview with Karl Malone, who tells Rodman he's going to see a Rodzilla killer as we go to break. But we come back to our 10th match. Jim, the Anvil Neidhart.
Thanks for coming.
Versus Diamond Dallas Page with Karl Malone. And we haven't seen Neidhart wrestle since Survivor Series 1997, episode 281.
It's a shame he couldn't have shown up at World War III.
Well, it was the week before. He wasn't fired yet.
Yeah.
Or he hadn't
left
quit.
yet.
He hadn't left yet, I guess, technically. So the Anvil takes DDP to a corner to deliver strikes and chokes until the ref forces him to break, with Neidhart doing some taunting towards the crowd,
Hot dogging,
allowing Page to get back to his feet to return the favor. Anvil goes low to change the momentum, begins to work the back of DDP when he locks in a full Nelson, only for Page to mule kick down low to escape. DDP then motions for the finisher before nailing the Diamond Cutter for the pin and the win. Post-match, Page and Malone head out into the crowd to celebrate as we head to commercial.
cool.
Yep.
We come back to another Goldberg video package, this time to see his 100th win versus Konnan at Great American Bash.
K-Dog himself.
We then get our 11th match, Sting and Lex Luger with the Wolfpac of Kevin Nash and Konnan versus Kidman and Sick Boy.
I wonder who's going to win this one.
Yeah.
Nash takes the mic to get the crowd fired up,
Can I say one thing?
followed by K-Dog yelling,
Orale! Arriba la raza! Atlanta's rowdy and bowdy!
Jesus. That made me want to vomit.
Yep.
and the Flock attacks once they're all in the ring, but are taken down by clotheslines from the Stinger before an atomic drop and a drop kick. And Lex comes in to deliver a back body drop to Kidman, followed by a Stinger splash onto both men. Stinger then drops Kidman with a Scorpion Deathlock, while Luger lifts Sick Boy up into the torture rack for the submission and the win.
So no rules. We just need to put over the Wolfpac as killers. It's like they were both in the ring doing the thing.
Yeah.
We're in the Atlanta, we're in the Georgia Dome,
Yeah.
and we need to have our biggest stars on the show.
Yeah, I
We
get
got
it.
So
39,000, 41,000 people here.
go out there and do something.
It's like, yeah, we obviously don't give a flying fuck about you, Lex Luger, or Sting, unfortunately, but people do. So here's your 6 minutes, 2 in the ring.
Yep. And, you know, we're the new NWO, but we're still like the old NWO where we have to do everything in groups instead of just letting people do what they do when they've always done what they did before they were a part of our group.
Hey, at least it's a new song. It's a fun little hip-hop tune.
So we get another
There's that.
we get another Goldberg video package. This time seeing footage of Bill defeating Scott Hall earlier in the show as we head to break. And we come back to the crowd chanting Goldberg as he walks through the back with security flanking him until he reaches the stage area before we go to commercial. And we come back to our 12th match. Bill Goldberg versus Hollywood Hogan for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
And all I'm thinking at this point is like, if Goldberg loses, then they didn't learn a goddamn thing about the Sting situation, where they built a guy up to be the most liked thing in the company and then threw it away after a full year of investment. And I'm just like, all right, well, what are we going to do here?
So Goldberg puts Hollywood in a headlock, which Hogan uses a forearm to free himself, only to be knocked down by a shoulder tackle that sends Hollywood retreating to a corner. Once Hogan's back up, he gets Bill in a front chancery, but Goldberg pushes him into a corner to force a break, followed by Hollywood asking for a test of strength, which Bill wins with ease, taking Hogan down to his knees and forcing him to scramble to the ropes to break the hold.
Oh, the Bobby Heenan says that if Hogan wins, it will destroy the sport.
And Hollywood goes on the attack with strikes, rakes in the eyes and the back, taking his belt off to whip Goldberg when Hogan turns to taunt the crowd, allowing Bill to rip the belt out of his hand and throws it to the floor.
I mean, you can't stoop to his level.
Look at Bill taking no chances.
They exchange holds, with Hollywood escaping with a mule kick down low, raking the eyes again before rocking Goldberg with strikes, clotheslines, and chokes. And Hogan continues with a body slam, followed by going for multiple elbow drops, which Bill completely avoids and responds with a clothesline that sends Hollywood to the floor to regroup. And once Hogan returns, he takes the fight to a corner, hitting a few knees before dumping Goldberg outside, with Hollywood following out to run Bill into a guardrail and bash his head with several chair shots.
I did love that when Hogan got knocked out to the ring, Goldberg stayed in the ring because he's playing it smart. Why would he follow him out there?
They return to the ring where Hogan keeps up the attack with a body slam, a pair of leg drops, makes the cover for the pin, and no, Goldberg kicks out. Kirk Hittig then starts to make his way to ringside when DDP and Karl Malone are right after him, where Malone nails a diamond cutter that wasn't quite so perfect.
No.
Hollywood's distracted, but when he turns his attention back towards Bill, he's dropped by a spear and a jackhammer for the pin and the win. And no!
The fans blow the lid off this motherfucker.
Yep.
Post-match, Goldberg celebrates with both title belts in the ring as the crowd continues to chant his name, while Tony says his goodbyes, and we fade to black.
Tony says, "Who's next?" And Bobby Heenan says, "Who cares?" And I agree completely.
Amen, Bobby.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Monday Night Nitro from July 6th, 1998?
I mean, I talked about it, but Goldberg got this in less than a year. Sting, they built him up only just to be politic fucked into now being red and black, bastardized NWO character. Because they already ruined the thing. I don't give a fuck about this show. The crowd was hyped, and WCW finally did the right thing, strike while the hammer's hot. Whether my hammer's hot doesn't matter, because it was at this moment in time for Goldberg, as the entire crowd proved throughout the evening. But yeah, it was a show that happened, and I'm glad that everybody in attendance seemed to enjoy themselves.
Yeah. Similar to that, it was mostly garbage. Scrolling through here, the first match I was okay with Booker and
it might be
Malenko.
the thing most resembling a wrestling match on the show.
And then the Jericho Ultimo Dragon.
That doesn't really actually happen.
No. But, I mean, there was 2 matches in between there where it wasn't necessary. Yeah, there's more bad than good in this show. You know, starts off hot, has a bunch of shit in the middle, and then has an ending that people should have paid money to watch instead of getting it for free. But, I mean, I got it for free back then, so I guess I did it in reverse, because I got it for free back then and I paid to watch it now. So
I mean, they got 40,000 people in there, so it's not like they didn't make any money.
Oh, yeah. But they could have made so much more.
So we definitely didn't get a work rate kind of night. when the 2 longest matches of the entire show are Goldberg matches.
Yep.
But the crowd didn't bump up everything at least half a star, if that was a thing that we were to do.
Yeah.
Making the atmosphere feel much bigger than the moment.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, the overall show, not good. Watched the one match for the history of it.
Yeah, even the angles that they're like setting up, I'm not interested in.
Yeah.
Like, and they're setting up angles all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the Jericho thing.
Yeah.
Jericho thing's interesting, but that's Jericho and Dean Malenko, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you got your Guerreros.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments? I mean, we just kind of mentioned a few of them right there.
We just talked about it 7 minutes ago, but Paul White with the best spot of the evening.
There you go.
The raised fist for Jim Duggan just to fall into. It wasn't a boot. It was a fist. It's probably because his boot would have been too high.
You said that, my brain went Canada. Malenko and Booker, I had fun with that.
The first fans promo on Hogan
That was fun.
was very good. Like, he started, and I was just like, what are we doing here? Like, I didn't quite understand what we were doing, and once I realized that he was, like, cutting a promo on Hogan, I was just like, okay, this is actually really good.
I liked seeing Goldberg fucking choke Scott Hall for being a fuck up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of sad in hindsight, but it's like, we're in the fucking ring. This is dangerous even if we're do everything right. And here you are fucking trying to make a fool of... Yeah, potentially about to make a fool of both of us in front of 40,000 people.
Karl Malone on the mic.
Yeah.
It's fun. I do appreciate Karl Malone wanting to do this.
Yeah.
Like, he's not just here because... It doesn't feel like he's just here for the money. It feels like he's like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to have fun.
Yeah, he's great on the mic, but he, as we've seen from his moves in the ring, not the best in there, but he knows his strong points of being able to get out there and talk some shit.
Yeah. He's trying.
Minor, it was good to see Scott Putski back after his injury that he had, because I didn't know if we were going to really see him again.
Chavo with the hard hat and then holding his head. Like, it was just silly enough that it made me laugh.
Yeah, I feel like I'd never really seen this era of Chavo Guerrero because I was never really a WCW guy. I think it's a little much, but maybe I think the reason for that is because I'm already like over the show, like 15 minutes in. So like it's just harder to warm my cold heart. But it's one of those things where it's like, I want to appreciate it more, but I just haven't been able to get behind it. It's almost a little too goofy because he was doing a great job of just being bullied, and now I feel like they overcorrected in the other direction a little bit, but that's just personal taste. I don't think it's bad, but I want to like it more, and maybe I will because I don't think it's going anywhere.
I don't know much about him yet, but there is something about Tokyo Magnum, his little I want to be your friend during the Disco Inferno Alex Wright match.
He just wants to dance.
Yeah.
For some reason, that kind of goofy, I didn't have as much of a problem, or like didn't bother me as much. But that's also because it's like it doesn't really matter.
It's Disco Inferno and Alex Wright. Like,
yeah, it's not a serious
the perfect
angle anyway.
Goofiness.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you expect it to be. Nothing more, nothing less.
How about most disappointing?
This had to be 3 hours. They could have done a 2-hour show and still drawn every damn person in there.
Could have done an hour show and got the good stuff in.
Yep. They could have just talked about it on WCW online, and I would have been okay.
I will say, if they're paying people more money based on the gate, I'm happy for guys like Riggs and Putski to get a little bit bigger of a payday, even for wrestling in front of 40,000 people. But who knows how WCW is working at this point in time? But that's traditionally how it might work in wrestling generally.
Kanyon can't get rid of his mask.
Yeah, I don't know why he keeps walking out with it. It's like, you're over it. Don't keep reminding us of Mortis. We like you. You're good in the ring. You're big and...
He's very talented.
Yeah, and then you're big, you're talented, and...
Keep reminding me about a bad gimmick that you had.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of Glacier,
Who's
who's not good.
Who reminds you of Ernie the Cat Ladd? Or not Ernie Ladd. Ernest the Cat Miller. Ernie Ladd is an actual wrestler.
We have not seen the last of old Ernest Miller.
Ernest Miller's pretty fun.
I had fun with him. It was at least different. I mean, he's athletic, so he had some... It wasn't good, but he was fun, elevating a thing that we talked about a lot, probably 50 episodes ago.
Well, I got a rant for you.
Let's hear it.
Do it.
So, why did Hogan decide, okay, I'll give up the belt? Because WCW was losing in the ratings. And he didn't want to be seen as the guy who was losing the ratings battle.
Oh, that's why I saw a sign and it said Hogan 380, but it was 3.80, and it was their ratings, which I didn't get. I wrote it down in my notes and I was like, what the hell is Hogan 3.80? And I was like, oh, that's ratings. I figured that when I saw it written in my notes as we were going, and that makes all the sense in the goddamn world.
Yeah,
it was a benefit for WCW fans at the time.
Yeah,
it probably helps ratings a little bit.
Ratings went up,
but at the same time, probably shouldn't be putting the heavyweight belt on Goldberg at this point.
No,
because
he was.
You either have to keep it on him for quite some time, or
you ruin the
you ruin him. Like, he should have kept that U.S. belt. That's fine. Mm-hmm. Like, he can have the U.S. belt, and you occasionally throw a bigger name opponent at him. Like,
yeah, you keep letting him rack up fucking. I don't want to call them losers.
When you peak at Raven, that says a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's like, yeah, so you beat Scott Hall the same night you
the
beat Hulk
Giant
Hogan.
Would have been a good opponent for him at some point.
Well, yeah, but beating Scott Hall the same night that you beat Hulk Hogan makes Hulk Hogan and Scott Hall both look shittier.
I mean, Scott Hall kind of made himself
look
shitty.
Yeah, Scott Hall still looks like Scott Hall.
Yeah, but but it's like, okay, well, Goldberg had 2 matches in a row and kind of beat you with no real problem.
Yeah, but I mean, they should have been doing other things with the heavyweight belt if Hogan was like, I need this belt off of me because I don't want to be associated with. They should have done something else.
The other thing I was thinking of is like
Bret Hart and Sting. Mm-hmm. What a concept!
Also, remember how over DDP has been for quite a while now? It's like you can heat him up, no issue.
I mean,
he's hot now. I mean, obviously they're doing this tag thing, but like if they weren't doing this, DDP is one of the guys you could easily put the belt on that's believable.
Well, I mean, I literally think that's probably what they were going to go towards, is probably have this tag match.
Yeah.
And DDP possibly win, and that sets him up for a actual singles match with Hogan and putting the belt on DDP. And so even doing this thing with Goldberg kind of takes the wind out of those sails.
And the thing is, the difference between DDP and Goldberg is that DDP can eat a loss, and it's okay.
Exactly.
Goldberg can't eat a loss because you've made him indestructible.
I mean, you have when he loses, it either has to be like
a total fuck.
It's either going to be a shit show, or it's going to be like the most competitive match ever. But we know in WCW which way they're going to go.
Also, Goldberg isn't really capable of having the most competitive match ever at this point, and he hasn't been wrestling for very long.
And when people try and get competitive with him, they get fired.
But yeah, it's like Goldberg is obviously completely over, and they want a Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I mean,
but Goldberg is not Stone Cold Steve Austin. DDP is closer to that.
They decided to do this match on free TV for the ratings bump.
Yeah,
that's literally the only reason they decided to do it. Because it does nothing for the pay-per-view. Because
they at least
Hogan was already not going to defend the title on the pay-per-view.
They at least had the forethought to make sure that they booked it in an arena this big.
I think they were just already running the show, and like literally they decided to do that match like a week before.
I feel like that they didn't. There's no way they would have got that many people without this match.
They didn't have the match. They didn't announce the match until the Thursday before. 4 days before.
Yeah, because the show opens with...
You're not getting 20 extra thousand people because of one match.
Yeah. But yeah, the show opens with the J.J. Dillon clip and it was from Thunder.
Yeah.
Thunder's not getting ratings like that.
No. So literally they had 4 days to promote this one match.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the people got what they wanted. I was happy for the crowd. They sounded like they had a blast. I wish I could have shared with them in their enthusiasm.
How about best performer of the night? And actually, this is where I actually say the crowd.
Because I mean,
literally, they didn't get down on any match, and we're down on most of the show. Like most of these matches are nothing, and the crowd never. Like, the crowd may have started chanting Goldberg in some of the matches, but they stayed up.
Yeah, slight spoiler alert, but this crowd stayed up. Next week is a pay-per-view, and the crowd, multiple times throughout the evening, chant boring.
Yeah.
It didn't happen on this show. Everybody was high on the berg all night. And they got what they wanted. They got what they paid for. Or what they didn't know they paid for, because they probably bought the tickets before this was announced, according to what you just told us.
If anything, Goldberg was just scheduled to appear.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a different choice for best performer?
Nah.
I don't care enough. Nobody had enough time spent. And the thing,
the only person I think you can give it to is Goldberg.
Yeah. I mean, I think
or possibly Whisper.
Yeah.
Because she silently found herself her man.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure we could give it to Goldberg, but I don't care enough. Except my favorite moment was Paul White's fists and Goldberg choking Scott Hall, because you could feel the tension and you could feel how pissed Goldberg was, and that's one of the last guys I'd ever want to be pissed off at me, especially in 1998.
And how about most surprising?
Kevin Green. It's not. Surprises aren't always good.
That's not a bad one. Because it's just kind of like out of. I mean, technically, this whole Malone Rodman thing. It's like, I mean, I was like, how long has it been since we've watched a WCW show that we're just all of a sudden like have these two guys. But I think they did actually say something about Rodman at the last pay-per-view. Now that I think
they did, yeah. But I mean, it's like basketball's not happening at this point. So also, can you believe these two star players in like '98? Nobody today would be allowed to go do a fucking wrestling pay-per-view match while under contract. It's insane. Like, Karl Malone is a gigantic star.
Like, baseball players aren't allowed to play basketball in their off time.
Dennis Rodman is a giant fucking star, and like they're playing on like championship level teams, and they're out here fucking doing clotheslines on the like in their off time. It's like you can easily get hurt or land wrong and you're fucked. They're in great shape, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Look at Sid's leg.
Let's not look at Sid's leg.
I like showing that clip to people that have never seen it without warning them.
That's just cruel.
It is cruel. But I only do it to people that I think can handle it. Not just anybody. No strangers. I don't like looking at the clip either.
Making their way to the ring.
It's trivia time.
Oh, shit.
So this week, the category is pay-per-view.
We're back, and it's time to play the feud. Let's have it. Sean.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you the last 5 matches from a show. But we're going to start out with one of the matches. You get 5 points if you can guess what show it is from that match. Points go down with each match given. So the first match is Bruiser Mastino versus El Puerto Riqueño.
Oh, shit.
And this is from 1995.
Okay, I almost made a scary guess, and I'm like, that's not right. So I'm glad you repeated yourself, because I was just about to buzz in, potentially ruin this for myself.
Yeah, I need more.
Yeah.
Okay. For 4 points, Bubba Ray Dudley with Big Dick dances with and Sign Guy Dudley versus the Blue Meanie.
Shit.
I'm just going to go for it.
Do it.
Because I know it's an ECW show. So I'm just going to pick an ECW show name out of a hat. We'll go with November to Remember, 1995. Probably
That
not
is
right.
incorrect.
It's probably not right, but I just peel the Band-Aid off because these can go on for so long.
Yeah.
And ECW we watch so much of.
Yeah, I'll take another one.
All right, 3 points. The Sandman with Woman versus Raven with Stevie Richards and Beulah McGillicuddy for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship.
That's the difficult part with ECW is a lot of times they have
So many
names
songs. Yeah.
that just they're built around one match that might be the main event or it might be the main event before the main event.
It's the ECW's 1995 pay-per-view Ass at the Cheek.
Let's do another one.
2 points.
Is it even worth it?
Gangstas of Mustafa Saeed and New Jack
There's your main event.
versus Public Enemy of Johnny Grunge and Rocco Rock.
There's your main event right there.
Get the hands moving.
There's still one match to go.
Get the X's up.
I know, but this is typically they put these
It's like a
two
triple-
teams at the end.
It's like a triple main event show right here.
Yeah, no such thing in my opinion.
I'm trying to think of like ECW show names. Yeah, let's just do the last one.
For 1 point, Sabu versus Cactus Jack in an Olympic rules match.
Son of a bitch.
This better not be like hardcore TV.
Living Dangerously.
Oh, good guess.
That is incorrect.
Cat.
Good
It
pull.
was Holiday Hell,
Holiday Hell.
1995.
Never would have pulled that.
That one was a difficult one.
Was it a difficult one? Any ECW one's gonna be difficult.
There was nothing in those matches that would give that away. So
Yeah, it wasn't a
Santa Claus on a pole match or something like
exactly
that.
what kind of joke I was about to make.
Santa Claus. No, that was WCW now, or
Yeah.
WWF.
Next week, Bash at the Beach 1998.
With a new champion.
That's right, new champion. Gonna have some Rodzilla and a Rodzilla killer and
Some Kevin Green.
And a special delivery from the mailman.
Some hair versus hair. All kinds of fun stuff. Hopefully.
music from this week's show is Firestorm. And Goldberg won our main event, so we play Invasion by Christian Poulet and Jean Rees Rigo.
Yeah.
I mean, Goldberg does have a good theme.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Remember that first time that we heard it?
Yes, but I'm trying to remember who it was. Who had it? Who was it?
Hugh Morris.
Orient Express guy, why can't I think of his name
Pat
right now?
Tanaka.
Pat Tanaka.
There we
That's
go.
what it was.
Yep. I
I'm
was
like,
picturing an Asian
I
guy,
could
but
picture him, but I was like, why can't I think of his name? And if you like this episode, God have mercy on your soul. But you can always rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcast at. Do as Michael says.
I mean, we sat through the thing. We earned our stars. Light them all up.
Please
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We do it for the love of the game. There's no ads on this show. I'm begging you.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns,
oh, folks, we are headed to San Diego.
Whale's vagina.
Exactly. So if you have any, recipes, something for, whale's vagina tacos or whatever you might eat when you're in San Diego, or a beverage that you've had while you were there, or you just want to tell us what the fuck you thought of this show, hit us up. Slide into our DMs. Give us a shout out. Get on the old Twitter machine, because X is only in our name, but I refuse to call that stupid app X. But yeah, give us a shout out. Let us know.
you can send any of those things to our email at wrestlinghistoryx@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's WrestlingHistoX. We'll talk to you next week.
Laters.
Oh, that's a good joke.